Bungoma. Sorry, I just came in from empowerment programs. My name is Cherargei Kiprotich, Senator of the Republic of Kenya from Nandi County. Karibu sana Bwana Speaker, Governor. Okay. In the last 2 years, he's been thrown out of the Senate more times than he threw him out in 5 years. Which means he was a good speaker. I wish Sifuna would have been there. He would have enjoyed his stay in Senate. I know he's not enjoying at the moment. Okay, let's go back to the business before us. So the next order will be administration of oath.
I, Kenneth Makelo Lusaka, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this committee in respect of the matters before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Have you tabled your written responses? Sorry, I was a bit distracted.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I hereby table the following documents before the committee: management responses and accompanying annexures for the report of the County Public Accounts Committee on the report of the Auditor General on audited financial statements for the County Executive of Bungoma for the financial year 2023-2024, management responses and accompanying annexures for the report of the Auditor General on the receiver of revenue for the County Executive of Bungoma for the financial year 2023-2024.
Okay, Auditor General, you are supposed to have reviewed those documents well in advance. Please let us know whether you did and whether you're ready.
Thank you, Chair. The documents were presented to our office on 10th June, which was the date that had been indicated, and we did verification for the documents that were available, and not all information could be well verified because of the timing, because we had only 1 day to do the verification and do our report. So I think with that, Chair, we can confirm the document were provided.
You are saying you had a limitation because of time. Was it on all the issues or specific to projects?
Okay, Chair, it was about the verification of projects and some of the issues that needed documentation which had not been audited when the grant had not provided documents when the auditors were on the ground. Thank you.
Chair, I think at this point, what the committee needs to know from the Office of the Auditor General is whether he is ready to continue with the exercise. And the detail will come later.
We
are ready to proceed then, Chair.
But we need to be clear because you have given us an earlier brief. With regards to projects, you are saying that you received something, was it last night or this morning?
What we received in the morning is the project implementation status, which the committee had asked the county executive to provide, but whatever was in the report for projects, we did not have time to verify the current status. Thank you.
So when some of the projects in here, the stadium, the dual carriage, the Naitiri roads, you are not able to brief the committee on those?
Chair, we cannot give the current status to the committee.
So, okay, Vice Chair.
I think the audit process could be on now. Is it possible we get that report before we write the reports, Auditor?
We had deliberated on this issue in the morning with my team, and we had agreed that because the team is on the ground, they'd move with speed and do a quick verification, because we now have the status report, and give us a brief before we go for report writing. That will happen, Chair.
Senator
Maybe
Siraj?
on clarity, now that you are doing fiscal verification of some of these projects, OAG, does it mean that some of the issues that have been raised on projects is still in your view, especially as you conclude on the old financial year and possibly a new financial year? So some of the issues that have been raised, are you still maintaining focus on it, or it ended with that year under review?
Chairman, we still keep them in view as we go for the in-year audit for 2024-2025,
Okay.
which is a continuous
So
process.
if we get such a question, we just indicate that when the year under review will come, then we'll be able to look at it, especially in the financial year of 2024-2025.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Fine. So what we will not be able to deal with, we will direct the OAG to include it in the scope of the audit for 2024-2025 and to capture them as prior year issues. The Deputy Speaker of Bungoma County Assembly, could you let us know whether your committee has interrogated this report, because the same timelines given to the Senate apply to the County Assembly. You ought to have considered, debated, and taken appropriate action by 31st of March in accordance with Article 229. The Senate took action on the 27th of March. So could you tell us where you are as an assembly with this report?
Thank you, Chair. We have not looked at the AOG report, courtesy of the briefs that were supposed to be before the committee. Nevertheless, we are in receipt of the recommendations from the Senate, and we are to adopt the same recommendations, only that we have been in recess. We actually resumed on 2nd of this month, and we are in the process of adopting the same recommendation so that we have the implementation status and a plan from the executive so that we can move along with that.
Why don't you have a public accounts committee? Because I know the liaison committee is a committee of chairs. Why don't you have a committee whose focus is just to look at these reports? I know the clerk of the Senate has said something, but I want it to come from you.
Thank you so much, Chair. We've had the PAC committee, but its timelines lapsed. When it was reconstituted, the names were rejected on the floor of the House. And as per the standing orders, the liaison committee now has to come in as a caretaker committee on the same for a short time because of the constitution of the same committee. But because the Assembly cannot have that void, we have to move the business of the Assembly. And that's why I'm here as a chair of liaison, but now undertaking the same issues because it was PAC together with a budget. We've been working on the issues of budget because of timelines, and we are now strictly working to ensure that the issues of PAC are also moving as required.
Yeah, so just to clarify to you that you are responsible for primary oversight. When we come to Nairobi and we are looking at construction of ward offices and construction of roads, it does not make a lot of sense for us to make resolutions on projects on the ground. You are in a better place to do so. But things have changed. Someone went to court and took Nairobi County Assembly to court. And I hope that now that you have a county attorney, he will be able to break down the judgment. There was an appeal which again was struck, but on technicalities. Please advise the Assembly, because I believe the county, does the county attorney advise the Assembly as well? Or the Assembly has its own legal advisor?
Yeah, we have legal advisors from the Assembly.
By the way,
The attorney can also advise.
doesn't the attorney advise the government, the county government?
Yes.
It does.
Which is executive and the Assembly?
Assembly, unless the government in Bungoma is different.
because the government is actually it's the assembly and the executive. It starts with the assembly. So, county attorney, you need to advise the assembly on what their responsibility ought to be, because things have changed. Someone went to court and said that we must comply with the constitution, and that is why we are now dealing with follow-up recommendations rather than the primary audit. In the next financial year, Governor, for your information, we have amended our standing orders or our procedures in a few ways. The situation the Assembly has found itself in, where the term of the committee lapsed and there is no committee in place, we have proposed an amendment that a sessional committee will continue in place until a new one is elected, so that there is no vacuum. Number two, we have agreed that when the OAG brings their reports to the Senate by 31st of December, we have amended our standing orders that it will not be mandatory for us to convene a sitting for tabling of the reports. The Speaker can commit the reports directly to the committees. Thirdly, you should expect that in between January and March next year, this committee will be conducting very comprehensive interrogation exercise because that falls within the constitutional timeline. This year we are caught off guard, and that's why you just submitted written responses. Unfortunately, the responses were not accompanied by affidavits, so we are not sure whether you are telling us the truth or not. So we have done a few amendments to our standing orders to allow this committee to do a lot of work between January and March, and to consider all the issues raised by the Auditor General, and not just through written responses. I think the County Assembly can also borrow from that, and the County Attorney can help the Assembly. Because if the Assemblies were to do what is expected of them, then this exercise in the Senate would be a very quick one. So I think that's sufficient advice to the Assembly, unless there's something you want to raise before we go to the
Chair,
government.
for me, the Public Accounts Committee for the Assembly is not working. Which other committees are not working? Is for the Budget Committee on? Finance and Planning, are they on? Are they making the finance bills? Would want to know what is happening at the Assembly. Is it only one committee which was rejected, or there are also other committees whose names were rejected?
Yeah, thank you so much, Chair. It's only the lifetime of Budget and Appropriations Committee and the lifetime of the Public Accounts and Investment Committees that were rejected. Only the two committees, but the Assembly is working as required.
And for your information, Kakamega County Assembly, they were able to convince us when their governor came here that they had already considered the report. And so we ended up taking their recommendations. I think it should be that way, not you taking the recommendations of the Senate, because you have better visibility on the ground.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Maybe on that, we also had a session with the Vice Director from the AOG, who is here, and what we are trying to actually advise, we were in a session with her, courtesy of this exercise, and we agreed that going forward we are going to have seamless working so that you can actually take our recommendations, sir.
Okay. Do we go to the Governor, or OAG want to comment on that?
Chair, I want to confirm that I had a sitting as an office with the County Assembly, and we agreed on the modalities of them interrogating the report and developing implementation recommendations for implementation.
Okay. I think now let's get back to the Governor as the head of the County Executive and look at the report of the Auditor General and the action that have been taken on the recommendations of the Senate. Unless there is any preliminary observation, we could go straight. Yes, Governor?
I just wanted to make an observation that maybe next time we have a postponement, it would be important for us to agree on the day and timings. Fridays, 4:30, sitting to discuss this, I think it can pose a few challenges. This is just a proposal, but maybe next time we can have a day, a better day and time, say 8 in the morning, and we proceed. It's just a proposal to look at. I don't know maybe I speak for very many people here who may not speak.
Are you already fatigued?
I'm not fatigued, but I'm just imagining that
Because you have not even started.
Point of order, Chair.
Senator General.
I thought Senator Speaker Governor Kenneth Lusaka was a distinguished district officer, and he knows the working hours of a government is between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. from Monday to Friday.
yes,
Yes, things have changed in Bungoma.
things have not changed, but I was just making a proposal, which I
Okay.
know you can either take it or leave it. It's not a must. I was just making a proposal that, in my view,
Yes.
I think that would be a better arrangement, but it's okay.
Yeah, you have chaired the Senate up to midnight
Correct.
in previous occasions, so do not worry. We have the stamina.
Even
as,
during COVID.
as senators.
Even during COVID, yes, I did
yes.
that up to midnight.
Governor, whereas I sympathize with the proposal that you've made, as a former Senate Speaker yourself, surely you should know that it cannot be left to the agreement of the entity that we are oversighting to give us the most convenient day for them. And number two, the session of this committee, I think ever since I've been on this committee, we have never adjourned because of our own unavailability.
Yes.
It is always the governors taking trips to Mecca, others going to, where do the others go?
Jesus was there.
Some are in France right now.
Yes, some are in France, others are accompanying the president on empowerment projects.
Yes.
Sometimes they postpone because Farouk Kibet is in their counties.
Correct. So in fact, it has never been postponed. So just a minute, Governor. Before you finish, maybe the clerks can confirm to us
Yes.
what was the reason the last meeting was postponed, so that now this inconvenience of all of us being here on a Friday, and Governor, you know me, ordinarily I would not be here at this hour.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Chairman, yes.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fact that the last time we were supposed to meet, it is the entity that requested a postponement, and for reasons that were not very solid, and that is why we had to reschedule to today. But the people of Bungoma also deserve oversight and scrutiny over the expenditure. Clerk, was a reason given?
I'm checking shortly, Chair.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I think we could proceed.
Point of information, Senator Sifuna should know that Farouk Kibet is not an ordinary Kenyan. He's the president's PA. So I know you don't know how State House looks like, but I'm just informing you so that you are conversant.
Senator Gerard, just yesterday the Speaker cautioned you about adverse mention of persons that are not within the institution.
But he could not defend himself.
There was a lengthy communication from the
Chair, you
chair.
must protect me from Senator Cherargei. You know, I protected him because Murkomen made certain accusations against his ability to grasp the law. He knows that as an elected state official, I only recognize people who hold constitutional offices, not their PAs. Not their PAs. The office of PA of president does not exist anywhere in the law of Kenya. So that is somebody who is an entity to me.
But he's a great friend to say, Governor Lusaka.
We are not here to discuss friends.
Honorable members, you might end up confirming what Murkomen said.
No, point of information, Chair, there is nothing to confirm because he never taught me. In fact, he was a proponent of allegations of sexually transmitted grades in Moi University, so I cannot be part of it.
Oh, okay, I think we are proceeding dangerously. Governor, what did you want to say?
No, I just said I think we need to come back to the theme of the day. Because if you keep mentioning my friends, I don't choose friends. You can't choose friends for me. So let's get back to why we are here, Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw you were quite jittery when some names were mentioned. So let's get to the report. Let's go to the report and see how far the county executive has taken action on the issues raised by the Auditor General. There was an unreconciled variance of 592 million, Auditor General. This was a big thing from our brief. Just to read what your finding was, then we will look at what the Senate recommended, and then we find out whether the county has done what we had recommended. The variance between financial statements and payroll records.
Thank you, Chairman. Please allow me to read paragraph number 1 and reconcile variance between financial statements and payroll records on compensation of employees. The statements of receipts and payments reflect compensation of employees amounting to Kenya shillings 4,859,170,763 and as disclosed in Note 3 to the financial statements. However, the supporting payrolls reveal expenditure amounting to Kenya shillings 5,452,051,258, resulting to unreconciled and unexplained variance of Kenya shillings 592,880,495. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of compensation of employees amounting to Kenya shillings 4,859,170,763 could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chairman.
That was, so we had some observations and recommendations as a committee. Clerk, could you read out our recommendations?
There were two. The first one, that the Office of the County Governor undertakes administrative action against the responsible officers who failed to provide documents to the auditors at the time of audit, in accordance with Section 156 of the PFM Act, and to provide a status report to the committee within 60 days from the adoption of the report. Two, that EACC to investigate the unsupported payments with a view to cause prosecution of responsible officers in accordance with Section 62(2) of the Public Audit Act 2015, failure to provide documents to the auditors, and provide a status report to the Office of the Auditor General within 60 days from the adoption of this report.
Governor, what action have you taken?
The County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning has been directed to take administrative actions against the responsible officers who failed to provide documents to the auditors at the time of the audit, and in Appendix 1A, the letter by the County Governor to the CMC, Finance and Economic Planning, has been attached.
Governor, I can see on your response there, you are saying the county executive has invited the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya to provide capacity building on financial reporting.
It's just part of the action that we have taken.
Yeah, so when we look at your financial statements, they've been signed by two people. There's Robert Simi, who's a chief officer, and the CPA Ambrose Makoha. Which one is Ambrose Makoha? That's you.
I'm here, Chair.
Yeah. Chair, if you see the financials, you will see that only CPA Ambrose Makoha has provided an ISPAC number. Robert Simiyu has no ISPAC number on the documents. Governor, you can only provide enhanced capacity training to people who are qualified in the first place. Is Robert Simiyu a member of ISPAC?
He's my Chief Officer of Finance.
That's not the question. Is Robert Simiyu a member of ISPAC?
He's here, he can confirm.
Yes, where is Robert Simon? Please, that's a very direct question.
I'm not a member of ISPAC.
Okay.
What's your professional background?
I'm a fiscal planner by profession.
OAG, what is the requirement for people who sign off on financials?
Chairman, it's expected that those who sign financial statements are supposed to be qualified in the profession. In this case, ISPAC registration and qualification is a requirement.
So, Governor, when you are inviting ISPAC to provide capacity building on somebody who's not a member of ISPAC and is not a qualified accountant, how is that helping the people of Bungoma?
You will train those who are qualified.
And you can see the problems are many. If you look at all the issues here, these are financial reporting issues, unreconciled variances between statements and payroll records. Then you go to unreconciled variances on transfers to other county governments. There is another one on scholarships, unaccounted for capital, all of these things to do with financial reporting. Governor, there are no members of EastPac in Bungoma who can be chief officer for finance, and you can reassign your friend Robert something else to do.
Maybe what does the law say about appointment of a chief officer for finance? Maybe that according to the County Government Act.
You have been Governor.
Yeah, I'm just
you are not the one to ask questions.
No, I'm just saying because the senator has challenged me whether there are no other people who qualify to be chief officer. So I wanted to know if that's a requirement that you must have ISPAC number to be appointed as a chief officer of finance, then I'll take action.
Governor, let's. You are the one who says the time is not proper. Let's go direct to answers. I don't think it's fair for you to pose a question back to Senator Sifuna. If there's a fact in law, just explain it as it is, and then we shall respond.
So, Chair, finally, not finally really, but the question would be...
I think, Chair, it is fair. I have no problem handling questions from the Governor. But Governor, remember, you are the person with the executive authority to assign responsibility for chief officers. And because you come from the same place I come from, we usually say that you cannot use the cow that you used to milk, you take it to plow the field. It's a mismatch of what do they say? Mismatch of skills. In Kiluya, that's what they say. And that is the reason why I started by asking the Auditor General to give us what the expectation is, and I'll find the exact provision of the law so that we help the Governor.
I think we have, as part of our recommendations, we have said we need to amend the PFM and regulations.
Correct.
Because at the moment it does not put a qualification on the chief officer. It is subject to approval of the county assembly, and it is a mistake that we have made in.
Perhaps the team there can just confirm for me what Section 13, subsection 2 of the PFM Act says, so that we are clear on what the law is.
Because additionally, what the OAG said, the financials must be signed off by a member of the institute, alongside the chief officer of finance. So, who is Ambrose Makoha? Is Ambrose Makoha here?
I'm present, Chair.
You're a member of the institute?
I'm a member of the institute.
In good standing?
In good standing, Chair.
So, if you're a member of the institute in good standing, because we are going to miss this point, we are going to lose the point that the Auditor General had raised. Why was 592 million not reconciled?
And finally, Chair, if these documents were brought, has it been explained now, that variance?
Yeah, because as we establish the issue of the law, let's not lose sight of the money. There's 592 million that has been queried here, which could not be explained at the time of audit.
Thank you so much, Chair. My name is CPA Ambrose Makoha. Chair, we did a reconciliation of the IPPD and the financial statements. Now, the appendix and the attachments we shared with the Office of the Auditor General. But he had recommended that we do in a format which was not in a form that we gave them.
Which was the correct expenditure? The one in the financial statements or the one in payroll records?
There was a variance between the payroll and the financial statements. Let me explain, Chair, in a minute how it comes. We have these casuals in the county government whose salary is not processed through IPPD. We also have tax arrears by KRA, which we don't process through IPPD, because IPPD cannot allow us to process KRA payments direct through the system. So usually, this is a reconciliation, Chair, is a normal reconciliation every financial year, because not every transaction will go through IPPD. So we have shared with the Auditor General the reconciliation. In fact, Chair, we had shared this reconciliation with them in November when we were doing the audit. But
could you just address the question? What is the correct figure for compensation of employees?
The correct figure, Chair, is 4.8 billion. 4.8.
So the financial statements are derived from the source. The source data is the payroll records. So
Yes.
how can you have that big mismatch between the payroll records, which is the basis upon which the financials are prepared?
Yes, Chair, the payroll record is a basis, yes, true, but we see that not every transaction, for example, casuals, we don't pay them through IPPD because there are no personal numbers. Number two, the salaries for May and June, and we use the cash basis of reporting, Chair. The salary for May and June we paid in August. Because it was on accrual, we had to do an adjustment, a journal, so that we correct as per the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. So this is just a normal reconciliation of IPPD and financial statements.
Auditor General, what is the correct expenditure on employees from your analysis?
Thank you, Chair. According to the report that we had with the IPPD, the correct figure was supposed to be 5,452,051,258, but now that the financial statement were presenting a figure of 4,859,170,763. That is why we raised the variance.
So from your perspective, which figure should be taken? Is it the 5.4 or 4.8? Having gone through the reconciliation that the gentleman is talking about.
Okay, Chair, the corrective figure for that year was 5,452,051,258.
Now that's very serious because you are when you say that is the correct figure, then we need to know what happened to the 592 million.
And Chair, I don't think this is a very difficult question. This is a question of addition and subtraction. There are two payrolls. IPPD payroll and then one manual payroll for the casuals. Is it difficult to add the two, reconcile the two even during the time of audit? I'm not seeing anything difficult here. What is difficult? Audit. Did you see the IPPD payroll with the total? Then the manual payroll with the total. You add the two and they come to 5.4 billion.
Chair, what we are seeing, our figure was 5.4 billion and what was presented was 4.8 billion, but it was to be reconciled. So we received that reconciliation from the county executive, but we have not been able to interrogate it because the details, what we have is a consolidated reconciliation that is not giving us the details of what is comprising those figures. So that is what we have not received for us to conclude.
Mr. Luka, please.
Yes.
How much should Bungoma have reported as their employee expenditure? Because that's a question here.
According to
Between
our audit,
4.8
yes,
and 5.4, according to your audit, what should have been the figure?
it's 5.4 billion.
So what was reported was understated by 592 million.
Yes. And what the head of accounting services is saying is very admissible because what we need is the details for the reconciliation. They have given us a reconciliation which is not explained. So we can't know what is the reconciliation is talking about.
Patrick, you may want to help us because we cannot proceed. That figure determines a lot of things, even fiscal responsibility. If you're going to compute fiscal responsibility, are you using 5.4 or you're using 4.8? If we cannot reconcile that number, then we're going to have a lot of problems in the subsequent queries. Now allow the OIG first.
Chair, since now they are on accrual, the budget is 5.4. Because now the county governments are going to present their financial statement on 5.4. But the year we are auditing, it was on cash basis. So that is why the reconciliation, we required to get that explained reconciliation to know why the source document is saying a different figure from the financial statements.
And I thought, Chair, that gentleman indicated that in November, during the time of audit, that explanation was given. Are you saying that it was not satisfactory during the time of audit? That's what you said on behalf of the governors and oath.
Yes, we provided, Chair, but just one, Chair. As she says, 2023-2024, we reported on cash basis, Chair. The salaries for May and June were paid in August because the exchequer was not received on time. So usually we reconcile because yes, you've done the IPPD, but you've not paid. And because it is on cash basis, you cannot include in the financials. So, Chair, there will always be a variance which has to be reconciled. And it was reconciled, Chair.
Where I sit, figures must be accurate. Governor, you must know how much you are spending on your employees. Because you remember when you are in the Senate, we used to have a fiscal responsibility index in the formula for allocation of revenue. If the base is not clear, then we don't even know whether you're fiscally responsible. Already we have been told 47% of your revenue is going to salaries. But if the figure is 5.4, then it means that 54% is going to salaries. So, OAG and that gentleman, could you tell us how much was spent on salaries in that financial year? I don't want to hear the accrual and cash basis and the technical jargon. Just give us the figure that we should work with.
Chair, we spent 4.8 billion. That was cash.
OAG?
Chairman, from the scrutiny of records, primary records, the county spent 5.4 billion, but reported 4.8 in the financial statement. And Chairman, remember, the financial statement is what is published. That's what goes to the public. But upon scrutiny, the county had spent 5.4 billion.
Chair, I'm trying to understand this gentleman that what they reported in the financials is 4.8 billion because some of the salaries was not paid by 30th June of that particular year. It was paid after. And that is what constitutes 592 million, isn't it? And that is what we are supposed to reconcile.
Yes.
So shida iko wapi hapo? Ni kusema tu ingine ilipo baadaye na mahesabu yake ndio haya ama?
You see, at the end of the day, the numbers must tie. What the OAG says and what the county says must tie. If it does not tie, then we have a problem. And the variance is 590 million. A very, very, very big variance. If it was a few thousands, I think we would have already brushed off this thing and moved on to the next issue.
Chairman, looking at the reconciliation they provided, which was dated 24th of September 2024, yes, the reconciliation was provided, but the auditor is asking where are the details. When you give me a figure of, say, 2.4 million, that's 2 million.
The reconciliation was
where are the details?
Through a general voucher?
No,
or it was a schedule?
It was a schedule, Chairman. Yes.
And you are yet to agree with the county?
Yeah, because we have to see what are the details that
so
make up
those documents you want. Have you made it clear to the entity what you're looking for?
Chairman, we have agreed, and I remember when even before you came for this meeting, they were saying those reconciliation, those reports, because they are so numerous, they can only be given in soft copy. This is what the officer said in the morning. And we're in agreement. Let them give us that information, even in soft copy. We have the tools to be able to analyze them and give and
yes,
come up with the reconciliation.
Governor, I think it's very clear that they are saying they have not looked at what information has been provided to them yet. So I think it will be important that we give them time to look at that so that they come up with a figure that is agreeable to all of us. Because this was said differently. They have not yet checked exactly what has been provided. So I think it will just be back and forth.
My concern, Governor, is that this is not the first time you are seeing this query. This query was contained in the management letter. This query was contained in the financial statements, which was signed off by the Auditor General on which date? In December. It's not the first time this matter has come up. Why should we at this point still be asking for additional information and additional time for reconciliation? Because this was in your management letter, the details were in the ML. Can you confirm that? Can you confirm that the details were in the management letter?
I was just trying to get a way forward.
No, that's an escape route. we must deal with the 500 million.
Okay. If you want to, let's then proceed, because it's going to be, we say this, the auditor says this. And all I was saying that if they have said they have received information which they need to verify, then why don't you give them even 2 days or 3 days to do it? Then we are prepared. Otherwise, we are not going to agree. They will be saying something different, we say something different.
This exercise must be definite, because the next audit cycle is on.
Yeah.
And we must take a report to the House, and our report to the House must be clear on what we think was the expenditure on employees. At this point, we will go with the auditor's number. Now, if you go with the auditor's number, we'll have 500 million, which is suspicious, and where people can make all sorts of interpretation. So, Auditor, how do you advise us to proceed with this matter? Because you are our technical advisors.
Chairman, we will advise that let them give us those soft copies of that information, even in a flash disk. We'll be able to run that information through the tools that we have, then we come up with the correct figures and advise this committee, Chairman.
Okay.
Because they're saying that information is available.
Finally, Mr. Mako?
Chair, in fact, we discussed in the morning and already shared to their email the details that they had requested. So it is already shared, Chair. Thank you.
So I think this matter remains outstanding, because we still cannot understand, and it has not been explained, what that variance of 592 million is. And until the auditor does a verification, I think the committee will be going with a figure of 5.4, as highlighted by the Auditor General. On the issue number 2, has this been addressed, OAG, as per the recommendations?
The issue has not been addressed.
Okay, very quickly, what the finding was, what our recommendation was, and the action that has been taken.
Chair, we had 2 recommendations. The first one, the Office of the County Governor.
Now, what was the issue?
Issue is number 2, unreconciled variances of transfers.
Let the auditor just quickly highlight the issue.
Chairman, the issue was unreconciled variances of transfers to other government entities that related to Kimilili municipality, where there was a variance of 39,647,586. We had a unreconciled variance for Bungoma municipality of 80,665,133. Bungoma County Climate Change Fund, where we had a variance of 11 million. And finally, Chair, scholarships and other educational benefits, where we had a variance of 30 million. Thank you, Chair.
What was our observation and recommendation, Pat?
The Office of the County Governor undertakes administrative action against the responsible officers who failed to provide documents to the auditors at the time of audit in accordance with Section 156 of the Public Finance Management Act 2022, and provides a status report to the Office of the Auditor General within 60 days. 2, that the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya undertakes disciplinary measures under Section 32 and 33 of the Accountants Act, Cap 531, and provide a status update to the Senate within 60 days of the adoption of this report.
Governor, what action has been taken?
Okay, the County Executive Committee member for Finance and Economic Planning has been directed to open recurrent and development special purpose accounts for Bungoma and Kimilili municipalities within 2 weeks. Appendix 2A is a letter from the County Governor to the CSEM for Finance and Economic Planning on opening special purpose accounts. Continue.
Governor, Chair,
have you taken us through the action taken?
Yeah,
In full?
he has read.
Governor, the letter is of 27th May 2025.
Has he read this?
So isn't that that period you gave us, it's not lapsed? Has the period you gave lapsed? You said 2 weeks.
Governor, what document were you referring to? Sorry, Senator Sifuna, because this is your response,
yes,
and I believe that is what you should be taking us through.
yes.
Your response is much longer than what you have read.
No, maybe I read it faster.
No, even if it was fast.
Can I go through it?
Because there's a column on action. You must have read the summary. Did you read from this, the one with the table?
Yes.
I think, Chair, to be fair, I heard what he said. I think you might have been engaged with something.
He read the action taken,
Yes.
which is on this document, but he did not read the response, the previous response.
This is what you should refer to.
Okay.
You read the summary, but this...
I read the action.
Yes.
Action.
Chair, what do you want me to read?
I want you to read your response, the one that has been forwarded with this forwarding letter, because if you go to your response...
That's what I've read. I said, Chair, that is number 2. Yeah.
Number 2.
So fancy.
Have you read all the way to page, because it flows into the second and third page, your response, on the last
I
column?
think it is only number 1. Action there, top. This one.
Chair, I had him, he read only the first paragraph.
Yes.
And then he referred us to Appendix 2A.
Yes.
Yes.
Then I proceed.
That's where he stopped.
That's why I stopped. So I continue with the transfer of funds
Yes,
to the new accounts to be effected in the financial year 2025-2026. Okay?
Okay.
Is that okay, Chair?
Yeah, 'cause I wanted you to read your response in full, so that when you are asking questions,
Okay.
we don't ask questions in between.
Okay. Then Appendix 2B, CBK request to open special purpose accounts, dated 11th April 2024. Continue.
Just continue.
Invitation. Number 2.
We can allow the governor to finish, because if we ask questions in between, it will take longer.
So the county executive member for economic planning has been directed to take administrative actions against the responsible officers who failed to provide documents to the auditors at the time of audit. Letter, then Appendix 2C is letter by county governor to the CECM Finance and Economic Planning. And the county executive committee member for finance and economic planning has cautioned accounting officers on failure to provide documents to the auditors at the time of audit. And then that is Appendix a cautionary letter from CCM Finance and Economic Planning on responsibilities of accounting officers on audit matters. The county executive has invited the Institute of Certified Public Accounts of Kenya to provide capacity building on financial reporting. Then there's Appendix 2E is an invitation letter to ISPAC. Appendix 2F is a reminder on opening of Bungoma and cumulative development operational accounts. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay. Auditor, beyond that long action taken, please just assure us that variance on Kimilili municipality, are you satisfied with the explanations that were given?
Chair, the variances had not been reconciled, and also the action plan that is indicated, it is not in line with the recommendations of the committee.
Okay, before we go there, just so let's go step by step. There are just 4 rows. So Kimilili municipality, that 39 million, I'm seeing an explanation in the column number 3 on management response, saying the variance was composed of payments by the county government on behalf of municipality, recognized by the municipality in its financial statements, etc., etc. So when you read that, can you give us an assurance on that variance? Does it still exist? Or there was an explanation that was given that was making sense?
Chair, the variances still exist.
Bungoma municipality?
Yes, Chair, it still exists.
Bungoma County Climate Change Fund?
Even that one, it is existing.
Scholarships and other educational benefits?
Still existing.
Governor, why then are we now engaging in an academic exercise here?
Chair, just a brief observation before he responds. Governor, your appendices don't make sense. You have referred us to Appendix 2A, which is your directive to open accounts within 2 weeks. But that letter is dated 27th May, and when you go to 2B, the one now actioning this directive is dated 11th of April 2024. That's 1 year ago, Governor, before the letter of 27th May 2025.
Okay, just respond.
Thank you, Chair. We did a reminder we had requested for the Central Bank of Kenya to open special purpose accounts for Bungoma and Kimilili municipalities. But by June, actually as we speak now, the accounts have not been opened. So the CEC has done a reminder to CBK to fast track opening of the Kimilili and Bungoma municipality bank accounts.
You see, Governor, those accounts, administrative action, is neither here nor there. Look at scholarships and other educational benefits. The executive transferred 195 million, but only 165 million was received. What happened to the 30 million? That is the question. And it cannot be answered by a narration. It must be answered by a detailed schedule. Because otherwise, one would say that 195 million left the county and only 165 million went to students. And they'll say you stole the balance. You see? That's why that reconciliation needs to be done. So can your officers provide that assurance?
Yes, Chair, before the Governor responds, if I look at the Bungoma municipality, which received 80 million, but there was no evidence of a transfer from the executive, where is this money coming from? Where is it being transferred from to this municipality? That's what I want to understand.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, ordinarily, we are supposed to transfer funds from the county executive to those municipalities as part of the autonomy of those municipalities so that they spend from their end. But by that time, we had not opened those special purpose accounts. So we paid on their behalf. In accounting terms, we call it payment in kind. For example, salaries. We paid salaries for Kimilili municipality, for Bungoma municipality. So we reported in the executive. But the auditor wants to see the money transferred to the bank accounts of those entities. And that is what we are working on, Chair.
Can you explain the other one for bursaries?
For bursaries, the county executive we are reporting on accrual. And the scholarship fund is reporting on, the county executive is reporting on cash basis and the fund is reporting on accrual. So definitely, Chair, there will be a variance which has to be reconciled, and we have provided this reconciliation.
Governor, how do you explain that in the market in Kimilili? The accrual and cash? Because at the end of the day, your opponents will pick these reports and say that you took 195 million for bursaries, but only 165 million materialized. And that's why we need to close that gap, and the auditor must convince us.
They're saying the auditor was given the report, so let him tell us what he received and whether he's satisfied with it or not.
He has just indicated that he is not satisfied. Remember, I went row by row. Auditor, can you restate what you have already stated?
First, it is to confirm whether he has received that reconciliation. Because there's a problem. The CEC says they have provided information, but the auditor has not seen it.
Yes, auditor, please help us, because
have you received that reconciliation?
It's going to define how we are proceeding.
Chair, we have not received the reconciliation.
Yeah, so the CEC...
Mr. Makoa, are you Christian or Muslim?
Or there's also
I'm a Christian, I'm a Quaker by faith.
Because you are about to take the oath. Because you are either misleading us or the OAG is misleading us. One entity is misleading this committee.
This is very simple here, because we can just confirm.
So when you send a letter somewhere, it is received.
It is received.
So what do you have to show that they received that document? Or you gave somebody who's sitting here. You tell us who you gave.
Chair, we submitted the responses to the also the OAG. When you were addressing the ML and the DAR, the draft Auditor General report.
You have a document. You know I'm also an accounting officer.
Yes, I can provide that, Chair.
Just a minute. I am also an accounting officer of a very serious institution that receives from time to time public finances, and I'm audited. So correspondence between the auditors and my entity are in writing.
Yes.
I can show you that this is the letter we delivered and these are the annexures attached. That's what you should give us.
I can prove that, Chair. I can. Because we submitted.
What was the mode of transmission? Was it physical?
It was received and stamped by OAG.
Physical?
Yes.
Now, there are two things. There is provision of the details and the OAG agreeing that it makes sense. So OAG, did you receive and analyze and it didn't respond to the issue, or did you not receive at all?
Chair, according to the documents that we verified when we were doing the audit, that reconciliation was not among the documents.
Did they, when this matter arose in the management letter, did they provide further records?
Yes, Chair, the query has been existing from the management letter to the draft level and to the final report.
Governor, I will struggle to take the side of your officer. I will not.
Chair, let's be fair. One of them is lying. So can we just prove, if we also prove that, because he's saying he's prepared to produce evidence that he provided the information.
But
why don't you give that latitude also?
He says he provided at the point of the management letter. It is from the management letter that the draft report was compiled. And the auditor was still not satisfied that the reconciliation had been done. Because that's the audit process. If he provided during the audit, it means the auditor looked at it and still found the figures and reconciled. And I'm struggling because the first issue we are throwing accusations against each other. Your officer says they provided, the auditor says it was not provided. The second issue here, which is extremely critical, because the first one was 592 million. Again here, we have got variances of almost 200 million. Again, it's a ping pong. Are we making efficient use of this session? Honorable members, I'm about to propose a motion. Well, not a motion. Because having tested issue number 1 and number 2, it appears that there is some disjoint between the executive and the office of the Auditor General. And the Auditor General is on the ground right now doing the compliance, are you doing the compliance audits? In the in-year audits. We are not going to make a lot of progress that is useful to the people of Bungoma if this session is going to be a blame game or a question of who should be trusted between the OAG and the officers from Bungoma. For the record, Governor, if I was to choose someone to trust, I would choose the OAG and not your officers.
Let the Finance also say something.
Just a minute. I'm about to say something that might be useful to all of us. Because we must now ask the Auditor General and the entity to go back and look at those numbers, but not in the form of another separate audit. It should form part of the scope of the 2024-2025 audit. In other words, I'm about to propose that the issues that are in these reports that remain outstanding to form part of the substantive audit for 2024-2025. Now, Auditor General, is that procedural, what I've just proposed?
Chairman, it's procedural because one thing, when you're dealing with figures in the financial statements, even if the reconciliation is to be undertaken in the ensuing period, the results of that reconciliation will have a bearing on the figures in the following year. So,
If any variances are found in this year, 2023-2024, if they are not reconciled, they will still affect the figures in the following year. So nothing is going to be lost, Chairman.
Nothing will be lost.
Yes, Chair.
What did the CC want to say?
Okay, thank you, Chair. I think there are three critical issues that maybe auditor should also come out very clearly. Like the issue that they brought out of 592, they are fully aware that the county paid 10 months in the year 2023-2024. That amount to 4.8. The 2 months was not paid in the month of in the year 2023-2024, which came in the year 2024-2025. So in accounting terms, is cash basis, the actual expenditure was 4.8. The other 2 months was paid in the year which we are going to report this year of 2024-2025, which means we have 14 months to report.
CC, you are taking us back. Your duty was to demonstrate that to the Auditor General.
Yeah.
They are also professionals. They are members of your profession.
Chair, I wanted to say something.
That is what you are supposed to demonstrate.
There's something I wanted to confirm, Chair, because we are having also a serious problem when it comes to accounting. Because when for example, we report as at 30th, there are transactions that happens past July, which is a cut-off period, and those transactions that happen.
We in the Senate have already dealt with that problem.
Yeah.
The Treasury has already confirmed they are moving to cash basis. So, accrual basis. So, I mean, we shouldn't belabor the point. What is frustrating for us as a committee is when we are caught in between the entity saying one thing and the OAG saying the other. All you need to do when you appear before this committee is to show me a letter that has been delivered to the Office of the Auditor General, and the attachments are listed there saying these are the reconciliations on this issue number 1 and number 2, number 3. If or 2, there's you can even take a photo of him receiving. So that
So you said 3 things. What is the second thing?
Chair, the third thing was about the second I was talking about the cut-off period, because we are on cash basis. That's what we're bringing some kind of reconciliation matters because of those after June, and which I think accrual has solved. But now also the thing that brought about a difference also in our reconciliation is when we are dealing with municipalities, other entities, and we are not opened specific accounts for them, and that automatically is paid by executive, and that variance cannot be resolved until when we open accounts for the specific entities which we have done. And
I think it can be resolved,
yeah,
because you need to give a schedule,
yeah,
of what the executive paid on behalf of the municipality. Have you done so?
That is what we do.
So then if you say if you've done so,
yeah,
then we'll ask the auditor what is still subsisting.
It's really simple. If you said you transferred 195 million to the bursary or education fund, but the education fund reflects only 165, and it is your argument that the fund is on accrual and executive is on cash, just demonstrate it to the Auditor General. We are reasonable, and once the Auditor General is satisfied, we clear the matter. Governor, are we asking too much?
No, you are not asking. In fact, I'm just getting also shocked, because it's as simple as that. You see, one of them is not saying the truth. This one says this was given. We can just, like you are going to make a ruling, let them find out, establish that this was received or not. And if it was received, what happened? If you received and you don't agree with what you have received, that's a different story. But it's wrong to say maybe you did not receive, and this one is saying you received and it was even stamped. You know, you can't sit here just to...
Patrick, OAG?
Chairman, maybe Patrick, before you answer, just sorry, is there a catalog where you receive all the documentation from various entities, and can you produce that black book where you write, if for example Bungoma,
and
so that today sign, if I am bringing a document of Bungoma, is that black book where you sign off and say Cherargei signed this time, is it there? Thank you.
Chairman, even during the audit, we have what we call evidence tracking sheet. It's a record that shows when you ask for a document, when, what time, how many number of times you've asked for that document, and up to when it was provided. Chairman, please allow me to comment and say that I'm in consultation with my team here, and it's coming out that during the verification exercise in preparation for this meeting, it appears, although we met for 1 day, only 2 officers from the county government were available to
explain the issues and provide information.
And there are officers at what level?
They are from the internal audit department, not from finance. So I feel it's like...
Governor, is that a fact?
I'm hearing it from him now. If it is true, I can assure this committee that I will take immediate action. Because I cannot sit here just to look like a fool when I'm a very senior citizen in this country. Yeah, I cannot. If anybody has, if somebody was supposed to provide information, and like you're saying, did not turn up,
yes,
only two turned up, just leave it with me.
Yes, Patrick, proceed. Now, at least now he's not doubting your account. Proceed.
Chairman, ordinarily in preparation for this meeting, we have procedures. And from OAG Chairman, 2 days before the day of the meeting, we're supposed to provide a brief to this committee. And our procedures require that we have preparation meetings, at least 2, which are supposed to be documented and minuted. And the persons who have attended those meetings are supposed to be recorded to indicate who was present. And then the governor is supposed to be invited in the final meeting so that he's properly briefed to be able now to appear in this meeting, Chairman. It appears that did not happen.
So Governor, it appears the preparation for this meeting, there are some things that didn't happen. And that's why I am going to make this recommendation, and members, you perhaps I'll need to hear your views. The OAG has already given us an analysis of your responses and action. There are a few things that he has told us, or she has told us, have been resolved. Let me just get back to it. There were, that's ROR. On the executive, Patrick, just read for us again the total issues were 25.
Chairman, for the executive, their total issues were 25.
Resolved?
Resolved were 6.
We shall adopt the ones that you have advised to have been resolved.
Yes, Chairman.
Not resolved?
14 issues, Chairman.
The unresolved issues, we shall direct that they form part of the substantive audit for 2024-2025.
Yes, Chairman.
Partially resolved?
The partially resolved issues, Chairman, were 5.
We could also direct that those form part of your substantive audit for 2024-2025. Is that logical within your audit framework?
Chairman, that will be the most appropriate way to go.
When it comes to a receiver of revenue, let's just deal with these numbers first. On receiver of revenue, how many issues were raised?
Chairman, for receiver of revenue, we had 27 issues.
How many were resolved?
14 were addressed, Chairman.
We could adopt, honorable members, the 14 that the OAG has advised as having been resolved. How many were not resolved?
Chairman, 7 issues were not resolved.
We could also direct that they be re-examined in the substantive audit for 2024-2025. Partially resolved?
Chairman, the partially resolved issues were 6.
Those could also form part of the scope of the substantive audit. So instead of just doing a paragraph prior year issues, we would like to see details of those prior year issues so that we do not lose them.
That's okay, Chairman. We'll do exactly that.
Honorable members, is that an agreeable approach?
It's just the best route, Chair, now that we have witnessed some levels of mistrust. Both entities are not, they are trying to throw the jobs at each other. The executive is saying this, the auditor is saying, I think we had better take that route, Chair. Chair, maybe in addition to that, maybe this OAG, I didn't hear your ruling, Chair, can provide us with a copy of the tracking of presentation of by entities, and also if our brother, the Quaker man, there is Yesu Tongare. Now I expected him to be a member, but it looks like he's not a member. So I was requesting also to give us evidence, because I have seen our speaker, governor, is agitated. So I don't want also governor to take an action without when we get the report from the entity and also from his officer, so that when the governor takes administrative action, it is fair on both sides. That's my opinion, Chair. And of course, I agree with the proposal.
Okay. Senator Marmo?
And my observation, Chair, is that working relationship between the auditors and the management might not be very good, because even after we passed the report on 27th March, there needed to be some contact between the management and the auditors. Maybe that contact was not there. Otherwise, most of these issues would have been resolved, because they're just issues of bringing documents and confirming that the queries that were made, the explanation has been given, because then you can have that reconciliation. Otherwise, if the working relationship is not good, then you might not have these issues resolved. The second one is the one that you mentioned, that instead of just indicating a paragraph of prior issues, let us have them listed so that don't lose them.
Governor, do you have any objection to the approach that we have taken? We have the stamina, we can proceed up to midnight, and we can listen to the two teams blame each other. We have no problem. But I think for us to be able to appear to be doing something that is productive, we could allow proper scrutiny of these issues by the Office of the Auditor General.
Chairman, I quite agree, and that's why my good friend Senator Cherargei was saying I'm getting agitated, because, like I've mentioned, the people of Bungoma have expectations of us. And when we even come here, we come here because we want to clarify a few things, and something can be taken out of context, make it appear like, even money is lost when it's not true. When it's a business of, just somebody being truthful to say, I provided this document or I did not provide that document. So I think I'm equally very disappointed that we are at this point where we are, just because we are not, one of us is not speaking the truth. But we'll get to the bottom of it. Just like we are saying, if a document was received, it will be stamped and, received. And if it was not received, it will not be received. I don't like complications. You know me, Chair, even when I was a speaker. I'm a very straightforward person. I'll want just tell me this is red or white. But this business of taking us in circles, we received, we did not receive, okay, we let's check, we have a track, that cannot continue. But I agree with the direction that you have given, that let's go back, let them reconcile, so that when we come here, we are even able to take a shorter period based on the facts that we have on the table.
Any other
That's the
business?
speaker, No.
No.
Speaker,
Chair, I think I want to give my closing remarks. It is dangerously past 5.
My good senator, you are the one who said the time is not a problem.
No. As the chair has said, because we swore an oath to do this job, if it required us to be here until midnight, we would do it. But Governor, I want you just to know that these sessions are critically important. If there are people within your team that are letting you down, don't allow yourself to be embarrassed by people who don't want to do the job. And you'll go back to the conversation when we started about proper allocation for the skills that you have. Those gaps, you fill them. Governor, in the last, I think, 6 months, one of your colleagues appeared before this committee, and a week later, him and his wife were arrested by EACC. There's another one who left here 1 month ago, less than a month ago, who's now the subject of an impeachment process in his committee because of the conversations that come out of this committee. We don't intend that these conversations result in anything punitive. But if your officers do not prepare well for these meetings, the consequences can be quite grave. So I think what the direction of the chair has is full of wisdom. Go and crack the whip. Make sure that you cooperate with the auditors. Even for me, as I said, I'm also an accounting officer. I'm audited. Governor, do you know it would be breaking news if ODM was audited 1 year and we were found to have answers to questions to answer? 15 straight years we have received clean audits. And it is, yes, and it is because, Governor, I know what it would mean if I appeared before the Public Accounts Committee and there were questions that have eaten mine. It will be crazy. Kina Cherargei will be more than happy to hang me, So we try and sit down with the Auditor General. Whenever they bring the management letter, if there's a document they want, we send, and every conversation with them is in writing. No stories that, we met at Pewama and I gave him the documents. No, in writing.
Chair, maybe just I agree with the decision you have taken, And you know the goodness with the governor is always respectful of parliamentary committees. I think he is one of the most cooperative governors that we have had in all committees because he understands the role we play. I think Article 96 is very clear that Senate, the first role of the Senate is to protect devolution. And one way of protecting devolution is to ensure there is accountability of resources that we devolve. Our governor, even as we go for mediation, I don't know whether there is a member of mediation in Division of Revenue. You sat with us, especially when we were discussing the third revenue formula. You are a victim of a vicious battle for formula. And I know your good friend, Senator Wambua Bishop, is recalling those good olden days when we were fighting about the formula. What I'm saying, even as we go for mediation, as we have had crosshairs with members of National Assembly, because myself, Chair, Baruma, Kataya, Bishop, and Sifuna, we have insisted that more money should go to the village. And opposition has been 465 billion in this 4.2 trillion budget of this year. So even governor, as a goodwill also, you should advise your members to be cooperative, because we work throughout the day to ensure that you get enough resources. So I believe as the chair has given you this latitude, let us, if there are people who you should punish them, you should, so that we don't come to a situation where we're having. And you know, some of us have a tremendous respect because you are our speaker, you have seen us grow, and you know, Governor Speaker Lusaka is a fine gentleman by excellence. I remember when we used to travel even to Malaysia, he would ensure that we are comfortable. So some of us, Chair, and allow me to say this, I know it will be struck off the answer, we have never enjoyed such privileges since you left. So, it will be struck off, it will be, I know, as a conclusion, so we really want to see you perform because this is your legacy term. We want you, when you finish Bungoma, where one of your members is Senator Sifuna, we give you other opportunities after 2027. I thank you, Chair.
Chair,
Maybe as you have agreed that we expunge that later part,
yes,
we will also expunge the earlier part where you mentioned sexually transmitted grades. So let that be off the records of this meeting. Senator,
Chair, let me say that as a closing remark, that Speaker Lusaka was a great man, and he's still a great man. You are letting him down. The officers are letting him down. Please pull up your socks. We know this guy to be a not this guy, but your governor to be a performer. He came to my county and assisted me even launch my foundation, which made sure that I come back. So we respect him so much. We don't want us to lose respect because you are letting him down. Number two, Governor, if you start municipalities and establish them, give them the autonomy they require. Yes. Open the accounts. I think opening accounts is not a difficult thing. Open the accounts, give Kimilili autonomy, Bungoma municipality autonomy, so that they can operate. Otherwise, there was no need of starting them if you didn't want them to operate autonomously. Thank you, Chair.
I'll give you an opportunity, Senator Wambua, and please, I want to advise that we do not become a praise and worship choir for the governor. The things he did when he was speaker, now he must be accountable as governor. Senator Wambua, I hope I've not punctured your speech.
No. Because what you said was not part of my speech. I would say two things. One, on the issue of the appearance of the governor before a park, you know, one of the things that I'm seeing, and it's becoming almost a nuisance, is that county governments appear before the Senate, and to a very great extent, it's like the audits are being undertaken in the meeting. You know, it's not a good thing. The governor is the chief executive of the county, but the people the technical teams that get to do this work, and we have heard from Senator Sifuna, it's not magic. It's very possible to have very clean books. It's very, very possible. But if people sleep on their jobs, then we cannot get this job done. Let's avoid a situation where the county government of Bungoma joins a list of counties that want to transact their audits when they appear before the Senate. And that can be cured, Speaker, by you just doing what you have to do. If people are not doing their job, then just exit. I mean, that's what it is. They can do other things. We are reminded of some people, even in government, high places, who ask for lighter jobs. You can give people lighter jobs, lighter duties, to go and do small things. Secondly, there's a matter that Senator Cherargei has mentioned. Speaker, you know that from our time, I hardly agree with Senator Cherargei. But today, I find myself in a very uncomfortable situation that I must just agree with him. That, this division, not division of revenue, the formula, the 4 bases for sharing of revenues between counties. You know what we went through in the third basis. God has been gracious to us. This time round, we did not have to really fight. We struck a deal yesterday and we passed a formula that we think will carry everyone along. The only biggest challenge that we have as a Senate, and this is with governors, is that in fact where I sit as the Deputy Minority Leader, I'm getting feelers that it is very possible that the governors have already gone to a house in the hill and struck a deal on the amount of money that counties should be given. Speaker, talk to your colleagues that this money that we sent to counties does not belong to governors. This money belongs to people in the counties. And the Senate is committed to devolving as much money to the counties as possible. We are stuck at, as we are saying, 465 billion without additional allocations. So if we get additional allocations into it, then we have about 500 billion and something. That can only benefit counties and county governments. So if your colleagues now go and strike a deal where they always go to strike deals, it will be a letdown to our people in the counties. Lastly, as you exit, because you have not been in that group of governors who had a break and they talk about lacuna. I hear people talk about lacuna. There's a lacuna. A governor who served one term, then exited. Yeah, but he doesn't talk about lacuna. There are people who say, now after this term, they can still go back and serve another term. I mean, people must just wake up to the realization that the time to go has come. And when people are preparing to go, then they want legacy. Do things that will be remembered for. Not engaging in small little talk and small things. I am happy that you honored the invitation on a Saturday at 4:30. Friday at 4:30. But I'm here as the Senator of Kitui County and the Deputy Minority Leader of the Senate and a member of PAC, not as a friend of Governor Lusaka. So that should also be struck from the record. That's what Cherargei referred me to. As a
Order, Senator Cherargei. Let's allow the governor to make his closing remarks.
I want to say this, Chair, with tremendous respect. I think I want to appreciate the senators whom we worked with, and my work speaks for it. So it's not praise and worship. And Chair, you also know it. In the heart of your hearts, I know you can't say it. But just for the record, that when I was clearing to go, my last foreign trip, I traveled with the Chair and Senator Malala to South Sudan. Yes, and we also went with Moscow and many other places. So when they appreciate what I did, just accept that it's an appreciation. That is me, and I did very well. In fact, it's during my time, and you can recall, that we got the highest, after the formula failing 11 times, we got the highest increment then as we got the highest increment going to the counties. That has not happened again. We got about over 50 billion. Remember, the 53 billion which we got, it has never happened. It's historic. So when they say I did a good job, Chair, please also appreciate it because you are part of it. And like you have told me also,
Governor, you recall a favorite quote by the then Senator Wetangula?
Yes.
Anyway, let's proceed. I might open a can of worms. Just proceed.
Yeah. So I was just saying that I have taken your counsel because, like I said, as a county, we must also perform. Where there are gaps, I'll strive to narrow the gaps or eliminate them so that we give the best to the people of Bungoma. My officers who are here have had, and when I go back, definitely I will see what I can do to improve performance in Bungoma, and to maybe when we appear next, we will not get to where we have been today. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll close, but let me also say that the people of Bungoma are very vibrant, but they're also very creative when it comes to interpretation of audit reports. And that is why I was very keen on making sure that numbers tie, especially on things that are public facing, like bursaries and education scholarships. The people of Bungoma really dramatized the wheelbarrows. You remember were they carcinogenic or non-carcinogenic wheelbarrows?
They were non-carcinogenic.
They were
non-carcinogenic, which is true, I maintain. If you want to export any meat, because I was a PS in livestock, the material used must be non-carcinogenic so that you don't get cancer.
But you remember how it was twisted. There were the COVID-19 jerry cans, which was said to have cost 10,000. So you also need to be very careful because these are not just numbers. People can come up with a script very quickly and convert you to a thief or convert you to something that you are not. And that's why you need to make sure that things are tying. We've agreed the Auditor General is going to do a more comprehensive job, but your officers must also provide the necessary cooperation and support to the Office of the Auditor General. Next year, in the next audit cycle, things will look a bit different because we intend to have this exercise done between January and March. So we will not be doing the self-reporting that we did this year. I think this year we allowed counties to self-report, and in the process, we don't feel like we are doing justice to the reports that are before us. So next year, we will expect between January and March. Please make sure you are around. Please make sure you don't have any foreign travel, because we'll be dealing with a constitutional timeline where there'll be very little space for us to change appointments. And I think next year, this committee of the Senate will be able to do a much better job than we have done this year because of the transition that was introduced by the decisions of the court, which I think is a good decision. I think finally, Governor, on the division of revenue, John Buddy yesterday said counties are getting 474 billion, but he mixed conditional grants and equitable share. So perhaps in your meeting at State House last week, we said that it appears as if you went there to be for a soft launch of the 405 billion. As a Senate, we will stand firm that counties need more money, because that money does not go to Lusaka. That money goes to the people of Bungoma. Do not abandon us in that fight. The way the previous Council of Governors used to abandon us, I hope that this COG is going to be with us, the Senate, up to the last minute, because we are committed to bringing that money to be able to serve the people in the counties. But also make us proud, Governor, because sometimes when we listen to your colleagues asking the President to build for them markets, we wonder whether they have read the Constitution. Asking the President to do for them rural roads, we wonder whether they have read the Constitution. Asking the President for water, asking the President for housing. Please take advantage of your constitutional responsibilities, because that's the basis upon which we are also saying that counties need more money. We have been in very embarrassing situations where very senior governors, when they're asked what they want, they say they want a market, or they want a housing unit, or they want water. Please, wafunze, what Schedule 4 of the Constitution says. I will donate my last minute to Senator Sifuna.
Chair, I didn't mean to cut you short, but that conversation is something that we have had. Governor Lusaka, I was not fortunate enough to be in the Senate when you were the speaker, but I hear good stories. The only thing, because you are a member of that institution, the expectation on you is higher. I must say that I was a bit disappointed one time when you were, I know at home our siasa might take certain turns, but I thought it was unbecoming of you to insinuate that senators have no role in the amount of money that comes to counties. Just a minute. The phrase you used is in Kibukusu. I'm translating it. That if indeed we are the ones who slam the table so that money comes, can you try and slam so that it comes back? Okay. Yes, just a minute. And last year, you know what happened last year? Last year, after we passed the Division of Revenue bill, Chair, you remember? Then the Gen Z thing happened. The money was, the bill was actually sent back to us. And the executive was asking us to give you, as county governments, less money, 380, 5 billion less than the 385. Governor, kama hatungepiga meza, that money would be gone. So, yes, from that perspective, especially you, not these other people in the Council of Governors, you, because you've been a head of this institution. And we feel as the Senate sometimes, like the chair says, these other players in devolution abandon the Senate at the hour of need, so that then we are left looking like we are crying more than the bereaved. When we start a war and you assure me we are going with you, I should not reach Halaba and then I find that you have turned back, you are on Ukuywa, you know. So that is what the chairman is saying. For us, we will insist on this, but you people going behind the tent and cutting deals with the national executive is quite embarrassing. Lastly, we are in the fight of our lives as a family for devolution, because our members of the National Assembly, and you have a full complement of 9 of them from Bungoma County, are making the argument, and the public is buying it, that there is no visibility on county projects. Because CDF projects are labeled, when you go to Moi Primary or you go to Mpeli, you will find they have written there CDF this year. But they are saying that the public has no visibility on the county government projects. So as a Council of Governors, please make our lives easier. Make our lives easier by delivering on those projects that unfortunately we have not had time to look at, but it is critically important that you demonstrate that counties can actually work, so that when we, some of us who are believers in devolution, are saying that 60 billion that goes to CDF, I think it's 60, should be given to the governors for them to deliver. You don't impeach our arguments by saying, but Sifuna, in Kandui, can you show me anything that the county government has done? And that is all I'm going to say, but Chair, you'll allow me to just say this. I
think it would be fair to interpret it, because you may have just said something insulting to the cousins.
I think when people are looking for their cousins, it is important for us to also find our own brothers. These are my brothers. I've just said, Chair, when he gets to Bungoma, let him say hi to my mother. That's all we are saying.
Yes, Chair. Yeah, Governor, just a brief one, right of reply.
Because Senator Sifuna has mentioned, I believe in
order members.
I believe in devolution, and I know the role that the Constitution assigns the Senate in terms of making sure that we get resources. I think that that statement was said in some context, because I was under severe attack by the senator who said when I had come and, you know, it was not doing anything. So I said, okay, if you make money to come to Bungoma, go and hit the table so that it goes back. It was in that context that I was trying to, but I get your point.
You therefore wish to withdraw and apologize?
To who?
To the Senate.
No, I will do it where I say it. I did not say it in this committee, so I will say it where I said. And in any case, we already reconciled. We already sorted. We reconciled, and we have no issues.
It is so directed.
Okay, Chair.
I think we have come to the end of our meeting. We shall therefore adjourn. We wish you a safe journey back.
You have any maize and tea, the tradition of the Senate?
Austerity measures.